Has there ever been a player that has such an immediate impact in the Premier League coming from another country that you can think of? I know it's a tricky question.
As in terms of what Manchester United needed, probably not, because they were really lacking creativity. That United's biggest problem over the last few seasons has been when teams sit deep. Teams sit deep, so United then can't use their pace. But what you've got now in Fernandes is a player that the other players around him, they trust him. They know that when he gets the ball, they can make the runs. And every time he does get the ball, look what happens. You've got pace in front of him. Because you've got pace in front of him, that means the opposition has to drop off. That creates extra time and space for Fernandes, and he does his thing. And he's been absolutely phenomenal since he's come to the club. And I don't think anybody expected him to do so well as he has done. And he separates the opposition midfield and defence, and it just creates more time and space. And this was the icing on the cake for him early on in his United career, with a finish that people will blame Pickford, but you don't shoot, you don't score. And he's also clever in terms of set pieces. Looks for the run of Martial, finds him perfectly, and gets the opening goal against Manchester City.
Gary, what's your take on Bruno Fernandes and the impact he's had in comparison to other great Premier League players that we've seen in the past?
Well, I think he's been outstanding having joined the club and settled so quickly. You know, Manchester United is a huge and difficult club to join. Have a look at some of the great players in the past who've gone there and had a difficult time. It takes time wherever you're going to settle. But the thing for me about Fernandes is he always wants to get on the ball. He's always looking to play on the half turn because he wants to go forward. He makes great decisions when he looks to go forward, either by carrying the ball, if he carries it, when to set it off, or he passes forward. And he's had so many shots since he's joined the club. No wonder he's picked up a couple of goals himself and a decent number of assists as well.
All right. And I'm sure everyone's going to be... Sorry, Danny.
Sorry, I think one of the things that stands out, I'm not putting him to that extreme, but it reminds me very much of when Eric Cantona came to the club. Top players that play for Manchester United, they've got an arrogance about them. And you can see the minute that he walked onto that pitch to make his debut, it was like, I'm here. I want to be the main man. Give me the ball. And you can see what he does. Great players make players around them better. And it's exactly what he's done. And I'm really excited to see Rashford with him, because this is going to be the first time that they've appeared on a pitch in a domestic game together. And I think they'll bring the best out in each other.
Who's the most arrogant, in the best possible sense, player that you've both played with, out of interest? Who had that X factor about them?
Well, I think personally I can go with one of two from my Spurs days, Glenn Hoddle, because he was so good, and Ozzy Ardiles, because he won the World Cup with Argentina. They both always wanted the ball. When I first joined the club, they told me, listen, give it to me. Whether I'm marked, whether I'm in space, I'll just have the ball. And it made life so easy because I always had a pass on.
Yeah, I think mine would have been Fabrizio Ravanelli. You know, I'd moved to Derby, and I think I was only 22 years of age. And he came into the club with this unbelievable reputation, you know, the things that he'd won, what he'd done in the game. But he was so humble. He was the first one in the training ground, last one to leave. And it was incredible how much the game meant to him. I remember we played Newcastle away and he missed a penalty. And then we played Liverpool at home a few weeks later and he missed a penalty. And he was visibly crying in the dressing room. But he was a special player. His finishing was second to none. But as an individual, he had so much time for the younger players. You know, considering what he'd done in the game, it was absolutely brilliant to learn from him.